first block, what we will cover is an experience from a country that faces some challenges for the production of cocoa. So for that, we will see a video. We prefer to have a video ready to avoid issues with connectivity.
Paisajes más sostenibles es un proyecto de enfoque de paisaje hacia la transformación de territorios sostenibles en Antioquia, financiado por la Cooperación Económica Suiza a través de la Plataforma Suiza para el Cacao Sostenible, con el objetivo de involucrar colectivamente a las partes interesadas locales en el desarrollo de paisajes de abastecimiento sostenible y contribuir a aumentar los ingresos de los agricultores, disminuir la deforestación y fortalecer la trazabilidad y la transparencia a lo largo de la cadena de valor del cacao. El proyecto es coordinado por Swiss Contact, con varios aliados, entre ellos Fundación Paca Echiori y Colcocoa. Paisajes más sostenibles está orientado a mejorar los medios de subsistencia y el bienestar de las familias rurales de Antioquia para las generaciones presentes y futuras, mediante implementación de una agenda plan de acción común para el paisaje sostenible, adopción de medidas de diversificación de ingresos y mejora de la productividad y calidad por parte de los hogares agrícolas, implementación de prácticas agrícolas regenerativas y climáticamente inteligentes y una transición a sistemas agroforestales. En respuesta a estos desafíos, el proyecto Paisajes Más Sostenibles está organizado en 3 componentes: pilotos de paisajes más sostenibles, diversificación y aumento de ingresos, agricultura climáticamente inteligente y regenerativa.
Muy buenos días a todos y a todas. Soy Claudia Sepúlveda, coordinadora del programa Colombia Más Competitiva y subdirectora de Swiss Contact en Colombia. Agradezco mucho la invitación de Natalie y el equipo del proyecto Paisajes Sostenibles en Perú a esta jornada de trabajo que tienen hoy en San Martín para el proyecto Paisajes Sostenibles, un proyecto hermano de nuestro proyecto en Colombia. Este proyecto es financiado por el gobierno suizo a través de la plataforma suiza de cacao sostenible Swissco y está presente en los 2 países. Bueno, el tema de hoy es un tema bien interesante, es un tema que tiene que ver con la perspectiva jurisdiccional y cómo abordamos desde esa perspectiva el tema de deforestación, cómo construimos territorios libres de deforestación. Y eso es un poco lo que hemos nosotros trabajado en Colombia. Nosotros tenemos el proyecto en una región del país que se llama Antioquia y allí tenemos 2 paisajes diferentes dentro del mismo departamento. Un paisaje está ubicado en la zona de Urabá y el otro está en Magdalena Medio. Y en cada una de esas zonas hay una realidad diferente. En la zona de Urabá tenemos una actividad predominantemente bananera y con algo de ganadería, por supuesto también tenemos cacao. Y en la zona del Magdalena Medio la principal actividad es una actividad minera relacionada con el cemento y también confluyen otras actividades agrícolas, entre ellas el cacao. ¿Por qué les cuento eso? Porque un poco lo que hemos aprendido nosotros en el tema de perspectiva jurisdiccional es justamente cómo hacer confluir diferentes actores del territorio alrededor de una idea común de ese paisaje. Para nosotros lo importante de la perspectiva jurisdiccional es lograr una gobernanza sólida, que es un gran factor dinamizador del paisaje. Lo que hace diferente un paisaje de cualquier otro proyecto de cadena de valor justamente es lograr constituir una gobernanza sólida. Y esa gobernanza no es más que la interacción de diferentes actores en torno a un objetivo común, o lo que llamamos nosotros el plan de acción del paisaje, donde se reúnen los diferentes intereses, las diferentes dinámicas y realidades de los actores del territorio para trabajar en torno a un territorio más sostenible en los ámbitos ambientales, sociales y económicos. En paisajes más sostenibles nosotros trabajamos muy fuerte en ese tema de la gobernanza y nos centramos mucho en aportar en acciones que tengan que ver con la reforestación o la prevención de la deforestación. Y eso pasa por entender diferentes áreas y abordar este reto desde diferentes ángulos. Nosotros particularmente en paisajes más sostenibles trabajamos en 3 ángulos. Un primer ángulo que hemos llamado el piloto de paisaje, que es básicamente un componente en el que reforzamos todo el tema de gobernanza, donde el primer reto y el primer paso que dimos más bien fue entender y reconocer lo que había en el territorio, esos arreglos institucionales que ya estaban allí, donde ya habían en algunos casos clústeres, en otros casos mesas de trabajo, en otros casos mesas de diálogo, y entramos allí a entender quiénes estaban participando, cuál era su dinámica, cuál era su foco y cómo podíamos nosotros entrar a aportar a esa gobernanza, fortalecerla, traerle nuevas perspectivas y particularmente cómo nos integrábamos y éramos complementarios a esos escenarios. Los temas de reforestación, agricultura regenerativa, medición de impactos, nos han permitido aportar a esos espacios que encontramos ya en el territorio, traer nuevos actores y fortalecer un poco esa presencia y esa integración de la gobernanza. Otro componente que trabajamos nosotros allí se llama fortalecimiento de capacidades locales y diversificación de ingresos. Aquí, aparte pues de entender la dinámica y los escenarios que ya existen en el territorio, es importante entender las capacidades que existen, pero también las capacidades que hacen falta para gestionar el territorio. Por eso hemos traído asistencia técnica que ayude un poco a entender e identificar los riesgos e impactos del cambio climático en cada uno de los 2 paisajes con sus diferentes dinámicas productivas, y entender cómo se podía hacer frente a esos retos o a esos riesgos que fuimos identificando. De alguna manera creando conciencia también en torno a la importancia del cuidado del territorio. Con eso hemos construido con la comunidad y con los actores que encontramos en el territorio una agenda común que está muy centrada en la reforestación. Hemos también fortalecido las asociaciones, hemos generado esa asociatividad como una plataforma de intercambio de conocimientos, de intercambio de experiencias, donde se pueden fortalecer las capacidades regionales, pero a la vez las comunidades se empoderan y se hacen parte activa y directa del cambio que requiere cada territorio. Pero para lograr estos cambios y para ser consistentes con la creación o la consolidación de un paisaje sostenible, tenemos que ser conscientes que uno de los factores que generan la deforestación es justamente la necesidad de ingresos. Por eso, si no generamos unas actividades económicas que generen ingresos permanentes a sus pobladores, el riesgo de deforestación se mantiene. Entonces trabajamos también en torno a la generación de ingresos alternativos que permitan a la comunidad tener ingresos durante todo el año y evitar así tener que ir a actividades de deforestación que no beneficien el plan y todo lo que se ha venido trabajando. Y un tercer componente que trabajamos es el de agricultura climáticamente inteligente y cero deforestación. Este es un componente un poco más técnico, donde vamos y ya llevamos conocimiento, asistencia técnica y acciones específicas en temas como implementación de sistemas de agroforestería, diferentes alternativas para frenar la deforestación. Hemos traído esquemas que generan ingresos a través de los incentivos económicos por captura de carbono. Hemos hecho estrategias de reactivación pasiva y activa de bosques, donde se pueden también brindar compensaciones económicas a los productores por conservar esos bosques. Hemos entregado árboles, pero también hemos orientado mucho el proceso de cómo generar o cómo regenerar mejor ese bosque con especies que sean amigables a las actividades productivas, pero también que logren ese objetivo de capturar carbono y de beneficiar todo el ecosistema. En esencia y en conclusión, son muchos los frentes de acción en los que uno debe trabajar y que debe abordar para consolidar justamente ese trabajo a nivel del territorio, esa perspectiva jurisdiccional que es tan importante para gestionar un paisaje. Y lo importante allí es, y el gran reto, aunque suene sencillo, es lograr un trabajo armónico, un trabajo articulado en el que entendamos que la actividad que yo realizo influye en la actividad de mi vecino y la interacción de las diferentes actividades influye también en el bienestar y en el estado que tiene el territorio. No solo en lo ambiental, en lo económico también y por supuesto en lo social. Entonces todos estos ángulos y puntos de vista son importantes tenerlos en cuenta, trabajarlos conjuntamente y a partir de allí ir consolidando y desarrollando estas estrategias. Que finalmente debo resaltar también que es importante ser constantes y ser persistentes, porque tal vez los efectos y los impactos y los cambios no se vean en el corto plazo y eso puede a veces desanimar o hacer perder el impulso, pero la constancia y el trabajo permanente y comprometido en el mediano y largo plazo con seguridad van a pagar sus frutos positivos para el territorio y para las comunidades que habitan en cada uno. Bueno, eso es básicamente todo lo que tenemos que compartirles en estos minutos de interacción. Muchísimas gracias de nuevo y les deseamos que sea un taller bien productivo y que podamos conocer los resultados de ese y seguir aprendiendo también de la experiencia que tienen ustedes en paisajes sostenibles en el Perú. Muchas gracias.
My name is Guillermo. Excuse me, I didn't introduce myself. And part of the team of Rainforest Alliance here in San Martin. So I want to start introducing the organization. I understand that many of us know the organization, but here are some statistics, some data on how the organization develops, not only at the level of Peru, but at the global level, in the work that we're doing for more than 36 years. So part of the work and intervention of Rainforest Alliance in different fields have certification standards and projects, especially working on these different regions of the country with different donors, with an amount of projects and different themes. So the development of the presentation, as I mentioned, the experience of Rainforest Alliance handling territories, some challenges that we have identified, opportunities, and some conclusions that I've been able to take from this work. So I would like to start mentioning what is a landscape scope. We heard many times this concept, but some could understand it in a different manner. So I'm going to define it, and I'm going to speak about how this is executed, how this is developed. So management scope that recognizes nature where the objectives compete with social environmental objectives. I'm going to develop the concept as we and as I tell you about the experience of how Rainforest Alliance works at the landscape level. We know that there is a structural threat in the components that have a specific landscape with a lack of reduction of biodiversity or degradation. We need efforts, coordinated efforts between producers, companies, governments, and the territorial scale. So Rainforest Alliance, with this scope, aligns the sustainable solutions that we can see is problematics that were mentioned, and in the right part we can see some strategies associated to which are the alternatives for solution of these problems. And how do we do this? This image is part of the collection of experiences that we've had at the level of Latin America, and we can find this and this publication. And what is important here is to mention how the continuous process and the non-linear process, how we define a landscape, which is the vision, and what is how we should plan the actions that we propose for in a specific landscape. We need to implement an action plan. There's nothing more than activities focused on solving these problems that I just mentioned, the structural problems mainly. And lastly, to have a tool, a system for measurement of this impact that come from the implementation of these actions implemented in different territories. So these are 10 steps, but as I mentioned, it's not a linear phase. Some happen at the same time, some happen previously, and some are conditions so the next one happens. So if you wish to know more about the image, you can find this in this publication that we have. The projects that we had, I didn't reinforce rights. So to take this, we need a strategy at the level of work being done in each initiative. At the level how we focus, we take to the market, we take governments, local governments and producers to do this holistic work that's related with the landscape. To look at them, open them. So I'm not going to go into deep to explain this pyramid, but I think mainly it's 4 axes. But the elaboration of an action plan, the document that provides us with an objective and where we can propose solutions to these problems. I think that this is important. It is associated to a plan that should be connected to the activities that provide solutions to the landscape. That next to different activities as local government work, the valuing of biological areas, the agreements for conservation, strengthening of capacities, incentives for these small producers, for work capital. And so this is part of the strategy. And some activities related to the projects, Rainforest Alliance in Peru, and in San Martin. So as I was saying, one of the projects and one of the main initiatives that we have in the San Martin region is the Alliance for Landscapes, a public-private alliance supported by USAID and the government of the United States, a consortium with CI, CPP, and we have 3 main focus activities and some achievements as well that have been happening in the landscape in Peru and in the San Martin region for this initiative. For example, the promotion of investment, public investment projects, and to strengthen the CUSAF, the elaboration of business plans. The action plan that I mentioned, that is nothing more than the addition of all the actions that can solve the problems that we have identified as landscape. In this case, it's a landmass landscape with 11 districts and some other projects that we have in the region as forest allies and restoration, agroforestry systems in valley chains, cocoa and coffee. And recently, agroforest process for copying. So in the strategy, I mentioned that it's important to value the forest. How do we value it through business or bienegocios? We have a series of allies that make part of the private sector, civil society, large-scale private companies, and indigenous federations as well, because it's important the involvement of all of these populations to value the resources that they have around them. In terms of increased funding or refinancing, I mentioned important funds to improve conditions with the producers so they can work. I mentioned working capital, which is a deficit that we have noticed since the execution of our or the development or our actions where they have funding associated to criteria, sustainable criteria. For example, low deforestation, that they do not overlap protected areas, that they work with agroforestal systems. That is important, so we generate conditions not only to fund the producers, but to be in line with the new regulations to work with producers and improve productive processes in the value chain. It does improve the value chain of different companies. And well, the fund leveraging. So, I consider it important to place this slide because there is one important point in the strategy, which is monitoring and communication of these activities. For this, we use a landscape system that helps us to monitor and communicate all of these activities of sustainability through reports, past reports that help us to showcase the solutions. This is the link if you would like to visit it. And some of the challenges, opportunities, I have very little time, but they are described here. Challenges are the coordination and multi-level coordination. The different stakeholders in the landscape have different interests. And this is a challenge. The coordination is a challenge. The complex for the use of soil and for different interests that they have, that the organizations have, the organizations that operate in the landscape, the technical capacities and the limited funding, not only in organizations, but at the level of people that take decisions in local governments and organizations that work in a territory or landscape. Measurement, assessment is a challenge. The ways of measuring and how you measure is important. It will be always a challenge. The involvement and commitment of the private sector always, we speak with the private sector, is complicated, but it is challenging, and it's a daily challenge, and the work that we do that can be seen. Landscape scope, again, this concept evolves, and it's complicated to socialize, so it's always a challenge. And the quick wins, which are what the results at the short term, those results with that are more of a long term. In this case, the small producers require to have short term results. So to think about what type of quick wins we can have for the subsidies, strengthening of alliances, generating spaces of government sense opportunities, again, for consensus, the increase of resiliency, access to funding, pre-funding, that helped us to relate all of the previous work are the enabling conditions to have impact funding, and this becomes more attractive not only for investors but for the populations that we work with, and of course the adaptation to climate change. Some conclusions. I think that this is the last slide, create the enabling conditions that I mentioned. Again, not only to attract investment, improve the quality of life, but to position certain value chains. The protagonism, the producer for different chains. And I mentioned that an improvement in the efficiency in a chain can improve the agility of the value of the chain in the different companies. Then the identification of needs, continuous work with local governments. That is super important for the promotion of sustainable activities, that they work in the territory in a holistic manner, and that includes indicators. In this case, we could speak about agreed plans. And that will be all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Meeting the time. I think it's very important to have this experience here in the region, especially get to experience. And because of that, we are going to welcome the time always the different advertisers that we met. The Rock, I'm going to name each one. Maxime Nunez, who's a sub-manager of Audit from Bocache. Also the Telmo Salvador, the president of in Ucayali from COSEPU. Also Carlos Rueda from Third World Foundation. We also invited Circular Anna and Tangalia, where I have been and if there are both any marginal, and those knows how to separate those coordinator of first investments. What opportunities do you identify in the management with the focus of landscape to prevent the economic with the that my state what that means and what the next stories that is about the the had a cell in province for a lot of work and use which contributes to the economic development of the region. We found that I was about to think that I need to was well producers who got to see as well and I've been his coffee and other little parts we got enough. Yeah, and I'm sort of I'm always sitting there today. That way, we get about this thing. Affection has about a foot and four. Was there anything up to dog? There's affection that it's saying maybe we call a prodigious lad to rehab. You look great amount of clouds outside of like easy. We're also sitting up in my mind down, outside my hat, and there's and that. And then these are the days. So this is the dog of why was there to tells the boss. Which is being told that they don't know. As far as that other goes wrong, I'm not with our people struggling to the areas to work together, promoting sustainable practices to promote the quality of our crops, and where we try to work in the best way with our producers. And understand what the thing they would be for versatility. We have formed a technical committee and also for a business, which is the committee of economic development of the knowledge of the value. And yes, the ideas part is in one of the first that we have meeting I think here at Logistic, right? Thank you. And you can awesome thing. And not I think you're doing a huge bird awesome. And you're the listening to promote landscape and sustainable big landscape. When water moves, and there is different. If you can trust the other guys, I thought these are it. And then you always fight out party. Yes, art of the dinner is another voice produce arts of the body part. Notice I maybe I is obvious how am I finished up to the known as place. See now arching I'm not least in not is to really and new either. In the Luwali Earth being seen as sovereign canvas governed and had needed and I would feel the marrying I mean, but all the relatives of the immigration around house, security, and having left schemes for installing that the restorers on offers for services. Even because the selling services and varies until environmental not stable and vital against the inhabitable soon or and also the gradually and there in the petition by the inhabitants and it was here by our own thing like it. The only one that they sit down and keep they could be more than lives so that we are used on my name. The they could don't bad really the country out if they be already to establish the example with forward to zero about price dish. Well, we have infinitely so many students reporter and I know the odds of the quality and that's work these yes well all very good. That's a mad meeting that we have for the oldest situation must see already then one so that if we are a periodic fun and area that and that we don't create to be like to be grass. that we think how do you would be really about on this high because we want to say that we would within the city and we down the hill. Things and I mean, because then there's you right. Or the glance is down the wind eye because I'm great. Oh, yeah, it is. You did that and walk to the house. Then head down the stop us. And we have put another wall forward. We walk away, water and grab us. It's the RC like I'm without. Thank you for that. Not that way, actually, about what the name I see topic. How you had that and solution out of the life and do it and do whatever that we can. Also, stand there. See which is the top pieces. What we like coaches and already something that's not all the work. We don't bring up any as I should in water to be the sensible skills. And down the road, these and that it out. Here, an electrician participate in the process services and clothing and handling.
It's really cool. Yes.
First of all, thank you for the participation. Earthworm Foundation. I think we have to translate this to Spanish before our organization that deals focus on value chains, ensuring sustainability directly with the set on art. We like maps of carbon reserves, have we notice that each actor had their own problems, their own goals, their own tools for topics of monitoring. So starting with the coalition actors or many members, we saw the space, the jurisdictional space of the space too. So that cooperatives, producers, businesses can put on the table their priorities. And that's what was done in Perpetuate and Ashuya. We also identified who could lead this process.
Or adaptive to the weapons today.
With this, the answer like in this space that I'm out. With us thinking let's play together different actors so that we can create a broad sheet and split and balance what are the next steps? What's this dialogue space? And while we are in that process, the important thing is that our authorities have participated.
Yes.
They have felt this process too, and we hope they continue their lows and ups and downs. And the has been activated already. All the actors necessary are not yet involved, but this process has identified who we should be around the database. The academia, which is that, of course, that was descending. So this process of learning must help us to the actors and also the private sector. There are solutions. It's just sitting down and choosing the most adequate one. Thank you.
For reconciliation,
Thank you.
we could answer with this plan. Thank you. And it is in the orange
And these U.S. hot said you're ready is at the first had things by on it without the good. They got 2 days to be a video back to the other for a first week. So yeah, I think first week to at least a the best of one bed space and to file laws and it heads to the room every today and for more than it was.
More than 1 per minute. That yes, the top of it. I never did my head. I didn't think.
Yeah, there's a solid a representative of Cooperative Automatic. What opportunities did I deal and identify as a voter to promote this land? The arbitrary Martin thing on the 50th for years or such like the this fire. But it's got asking the house. Let's see that year of relation and all sorts of things you know, people that are cooperate to live with this type of events. Good work with me. Somehow there it is. We like that's like around a month and then we spend my leftovers with updates. Iron the third turret 11 here post is consistent 30 or something like that. It's always at the end of it in the work that we do we to have the wood. It's always gonna be with us, not now, that always don't say like so like that. What self-employed. We didn't need the 5 things that I understood. He much money that he set them to be did for the many coins and the art. What is that little mention? The trade sample to the goal of the green modeling. To realize or that about being one of the things and the leader in it. And usually, if it actually now, like the asking others and the and when I had now on fine with things was so you get it. It was the best part. I thought there's a lot of reduced I'm not definitely mad about them, but I don't know how long that was this sense of that was used to become amazing, continuing speed, hours there, some meeting into every issue that the therapist really like art. He made it a little bit good. This is a well, it's then quite this, and then the weapon was how I really made a nice one out there, and really, and right, so he was have gotten. What do you think about it? They shined the territory. This little fight thing. At first, somebody said, because what will they change or when we learn it that is actually the saying that instinct that is they do and that it's the challenge as the region by way knowledge to the side for their ears they don't see the timeline before and it's they fell on the end of it they took any time as they're working from defensive space that the economy.
services to the region as an innovating way.
Yeah, like, I think you highlighted very important strength not only at the top level, also it's a region and a lot of gears, and those are two support provided with the safety guard, safety for the territorial organization, and also the articulation like the actors, which is down below, which need that articulated stroke with abseared vision and chief of it.
And some are all easily words all they make sense.
About the net, but always no again, I think we that like competitive or region, feel like using she can. This is valid. If it's in the latter or affiliated, the market point to fit dealing with the who has top ready so.
I what it is right on the face of them no photo.
So some other markets several bad with and like a gratitude I for actions of go out or the one they deal competitive in terms of implementation. With that,
with it all in this, he started
gross style, you know, the region, you know, the practices, or you, the question, what opportunities and challenges you identify manage with this school. Something at the passion level. Thank you very much. I think there are many comments to make. First, we need to thank the European Union for that norm that allows us to be here. So it was necessary. Still, many of us, for many of us, it was difficult to gather people. But now people want to get together and speak about it because, of course, the regulation. But let's see it in a positive manner. This is usually good. Also, like to congratulate the logistics of it, right? The lunch was very good, very different from the usual rice and chicken. So, thank you for that. And, here we use the analogy of it's puzzle. But it's not a puzzle. It's more like a leg. Because a puzzle has one single solution. And here we have some solutions. And it is like that. We can do different things. So what it is really about, we need to bring up what's the loss of the study and we have mentioned that we need to have a common proposal that makes us work together with a separated matter. It also solves things from blood side itself. So that's we will cover some building with that run to the city and grass. We will not forget. And it's it.
Anything.
With it. It's like I did that.
Anything now with this slide. I'm going to buy it. This is it.
But it's what is long trust with the belief in. So this year she was weak. And it outright to treat it for those split ways. I like that. The movie out of
like 24 hours and over.
the book of the ideas where it's played with this.
Yeah, but you go on the part, we don't have to sign late, red, all this, subjected. Yeah, the lots of them, still have the experience, a lot of writers there, the scenery that into that other price, that the new left, he said, so yeah, but with those, he started this was bad, I like, the joy of it. I got all the things that are some of the people got us on effect. I was believing that it's sort of I did work out if it with teaching this I think fighters, in some push up to themselves the way you said. That is the furry so wow, so the reason why that thing is the fuck, which is the way it's so very hard to work but now about it is the thing that it got. Oh, well, whatever here, the power or something that we here with stuff. I do it to buy a public nation that would I have some better. Oh, the meal would be right. was a feeling on the eye, but that is earlier than the being worse of it was about that person. They it's enough skill I would have there to get it anonymous. That is the idea to achieve that articulated state at the capacity to promote food. It's still between the city days of the government will be key and state for that, but I think that's what I and also highlight the mention of Carlos. Again, Carlos, the coalition
for a sustainable production. Again, I think it is.